Hello everyone, welcome to Peak Selects. For thousands of years, humans tried to explain the world with the information they had. Sometimes, they were right, but sometimes, they were completely wrong, and those wrong ideas lasted for centuries. People believed diseases came from bad smells. Doctors thought bleeding patients could cure them. Scientists believed fire was caused by an invisible substance. And for a very long time, many of these ideas were accepted by educated people. Today, we are looking at the top 10 things humans were wrong about for centuries. Some of these mistakes were harmless. Others cost lives, but all of them show one important thing: human knowledge changes when evidence becomes stronger. Let's begin. 10. People thought disease came from bad air. For centuries, one of the most common beliefs about disease was the miasma theory. The idea was simple: bad smells caused sickness. If a city smelled terrible, people believed the poisonous air itself was making them ill. This sounded logical at the time. Dirty streets, sewage, dead animals, and polluted water often existed in the same places where disease spread. So people connected the smell with the illness. The problem was that the smell was not the real cause. Diseases like cholera, plague, and infections were not caused by bad air alone. They were often caused by bacteria, viruses, contaminated water, or poor hygiene. The real breakthrough came with germ theory, which showed that specific microorganisms can cause specific diseases. This changed medicine forever and helped improve sanitation, surgery, hospitals, and public health. But before that, people spent centuries fighting the smell instead of fighting the actual source. 9. Doctors believed bloodletting could cure illness. For a very long time, doctors believed that the human body was controlled by 4 fluids, called humors: blood, phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile. If someone was sick, doctors often believed these fluids were out of balance. One of the most common treatments was bloodletting. That means doctors would cut the patient or use leeches to remove blood from the body. To modern people, this sounds dangerous, and it was. In many cases, bloodletting made patients weaker. If someone was already sick, losing blood could make survival even harder. But for centuries, it was treated as serious medicine. Even intelligent doctors used it because it fit the medical theory of their time. They were not trying to harm people. They were working inside a system that was wrong. This is one of the clearest examples of how a bad theory can survive for a very long time when people do not have better evidence. 8. People believed life could appear from nothing. For centuries, many people believed in spontaneous generation. This was the idea that living creatures could appear from non-living matter. People saw maggots appear on rotting meat. They saw mice around grain. They saw insects appear near mud, garbage, and old food. So they believed life was forming by itself. But what they were really seeing was reproduction and contamination they could not yet observe. Maggots did not come from meat. They came from fly eggs. Microbes did not magically appear in broth. They came from contamination in the air or environment. Louis Pasteur helped disprove spontaneous generation with his famous swan neck flask experiments, showing that sterilized broth stayed clear when airborne contamination could not reach it. This changed biology. The lesson was simple but powerful. Just because you cannot see the cause does not mean there is no cause. 7. People thought the sun revolved around Earth. For a long time, many civilizations believed that Earth was the center of the universe. This is called the geocentric model. From a human point of view, it made sense. The ground feels still. The sun appears to rise in the east and set in the west. The stars seem to move across the sky. So people believed everything revolved around Earth. The idea was supported by ancient philosophers and later became deeply connected with religion, education, and authority. But the model had problems. The movement of planets was difficult to explain. Astronomers had to create complicated systems to make the math work. Eventually, the heliocentric model became stronger, the idea that Earth and other planets revolve around the sun. This was not accepted instantly. It challenged centuries of belief. But over time, observations, mathematics, and better telescopes showed that Earth was not the center of the universe. 6. Scientists believed fire was caused by phlogiston. Before modern chemistry, scientists tried to explain why things burned. One popular idea was called phlogiston theory. According to this theory, combustible objects contained a substance called phlogiston. When something burned, it released phlogiston into the air. At the time, this seemed like a reasonable explanation. Wood burned and left ash behind. Metal changed when heated. Flames appeared to release something invisible. But the theory had major problems. Modern chemistry later showed that burning is not the release of phlogiston. It is a chemical reaction, usually involving oxygen. This process is called oxidation. Antoine Lavoisier helped replace phlogiston theory with a more accurate understanding of combustion and chemistry. Britannica describes phlogiston as a hypothetical fire principle once believed to exist in combustible substances. This was a major turning point. It showed that even scientific ideas can be wrong when they are based on incomplete evidence. 5. People thought continents never moved. For centuries, people believed the continents were fixed in place. The world map looked permanent. Europe was here, Africa was there, South America was across the ocean. That was just how the planet was. But there was one strange clue. Some continents looked like they could fit together. The east coast of South America and the west coast of Africa looked like pieces of a puzzle. In the early 20th century, Alfred Wegener proposed the idea of continental drift. He argued that continents had once been joined together and slowly moved apart. Many scientists rejected the idea at first. Why? Because Wegener could not fully explain the mechanism that moved the continents. Later, evidence from seafloor spreading, earthquakes, volcanoes, and plate boundaries supported the modern theory of plate tectonics. Today, we know that continents are still moving, extremely slowly, but constantly. This changed geology forever. The Earth was not a static object. It was active, moving, and changing beneath our feet. 4. People thought heavy objects fall faster than light objects. For centuries, people believed heavier objects fell faster than lighter objects. This idea is often associated with Aristotle. On the surface, it seems correct. If you drop a feather and a stone, the stone hits the ground first. But the problem is air resistance. The feather falls slowly because the air pushes against it more. Without air resistance, objects fall at the same rate under gravity. Galileo helped challenge the old idea by focusing on observation and experiment rather than just ancient authority. This was a major shift in science. Instead of asking, "What did famous philosophers say?" scientists began asking, "What does the evidence show?" That change helped create modern physics. It also proved something important. Common sense is not always the same as truth. 3. People believed the human body was controlled by 4 humors. The 4 humors theory shaped medicine for more than 1,000 years. Doctors believed health depended on balancing blood, phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile. If someone was angry, sad, tired, feverish, or sick, it could be explained as a humor imbalance. This theory influenced diet, personality, medicine, and treatment. But it was wrong. The human body is not controlled by 4 magical fluids. Disease has many causes: infection, genetics, injury, immune problems, organ failure, nutrition, environment, and more. The 4 humors theory delayed real medical understanding because it gave doctors a complete but false explanation. That is one reason wrong ideas are dangerous. A theory can be wrong but still feel complete. And when people think they already understand something, they stop looking for better answers. 2. Scientists believed light needed an invisible medium. In the 19th century, many scientists believed light traveled through a mysterious substance called the luminiferous ether. The reasoning was understandable. Sound waves need a medium, like air or water. Ocean waves need water. So if light was a wave, many scientists assumed it also needed something to travel through. That something was called ether. It was believed to fill all of space. But there was a problem. No one could prove it existed. The famous Michelson-Morley experiment tried to detect Earth's movement through this ether. The expected result did not appear. Britannica describes the experiment as an attempt to detect Earth's velocity through the hypothetical ether. Later, Einstein's theory of special relativity helped remove the need for ether. Light did not require the invisible medium scientists had imagined. This was not a small correction. It changed physics. It showed that even very smart scientists can build complex explanations around something that does not actually exist. 1. People believed authority was more important than evidence. The biggest mistake humans made for centuries was not just one scientific error. It was a way of thinking. For much of history, people often trusted authority more than evidence. If an ancient philosopher said something, people repeated it. If a respected doctor believed something, others followed. If a religious or political authority supported an idea, questioning it could be dangerous. This is why wrong ideas lasted so long. Bloodletting survived. Geocentrism survived. The 4 humors survived. Miasma theory survived. Spontaneous generation survived, not because nobody was intelligent, but because many societies did not have a strong system for testing ideas, rejecting bad explanations, and updating knowledge. Modern science is not perfect. Scientists can still be wrong, but the strength of science is that it has a method for correcting itself. Evidence matters, testing matters, repeating experiments matters, changing your mind matters. That may be the most important lesson from this entire list. Humans were wrong about many things for centuries. But eventually, better evidence changed the story. So those were the top 10 things humans were wrong about for centuries. Some of these ideas sound ridiculous today, but at the time, many of them seemed logical. That is why we should be careful. The things we believe today may also look incomplete in the future. Thanks for watching Peak Selects. Subscribe and like the video for more videos like this.